Welcome back to the workbench today. A friend of the channel has dropped off not one, but two different video cards that we are actually going to be working on building a system for him on. Here's the first one. It's a GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super. This is 16 gigabytes. Here you guys go. We're going to pop this open, and they have agreed to allow me to run this through the tests, and we're going to keep it around for a while as we build them a system, and so we might be using this for more tests in the future. But big thank you to that specific friend. You know who you are, and we'll go forward with this if I can just get this stupid box open. I'm not good at the one-handed thing. Come on, just open. Box, you must give me the GPU. Give me the GPU. I need the GPU. This isn't working. I can't get this box open. Ugh. Alright, it will not give up its goods. I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've forced that box to give up its goods, let's unbox this thing for real. Ooh, nice shiny infographics. Love gaming. Power the win. No thank you. Let's get this piece of cardboard open. Oh, look, some foam. Alright, what do we got going on in here? Looks like a bracket to hold up the GPU. Yeah, I'm not going to use that because I don't use cases. Alright, here's the power splitter. That's awesome. And then in this big bubbly static wrap is hiding a monstrous GPU. Give it up. Give it up. I would like this GPU. Alright, back again. Back again. Alright, we've got it out. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. Look at that shine. 4070 Ti Super. Not bad, guys. Not bad. I think these cards, I'll show you in just a bit, were around 790 bucks. But look how big this thing is. That's a P2000, a 1660. There's a 4060. Look, it's the size of an M40. Not bad. Not bad. Alright, well, let's get this into the machine so that we can actually start to run some tests. Ooh, yeah. Shiny, pretty lights. We've got the 4070 Ti, we've got a 4060 over here, and the 3090. But today we're going to focus on running that 4070 through the Mistral Leaderboard tests. So let's hop over to the lab. And welcome back to the lab, folks. Let's take this 4070. Here is the actual one that my friend had bought. This is the Zotac 4070 Ti 16 gig GDDR6X VRAM. Not a bad buy. About 800 bucks. I think he said he got it a little bit cheaper on sale, but we'll go through it anyways and take this thing through the Mistral Leaderboard, along with, we'll run some other tests in different videos while we have it on hand. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. This is another Ada Lovelace architecture that was released early this year and has a TDP of about 285 watts. So we can go ahead and get into the Mistral Leaderboard testing on this, and we are going to quickly run through Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6, Q8, and FP16. Let's go ahead and get our setup looking at the right GPU. This is device number 2, so you're going to see the graph on the very end, and then off to the right, that's Grafana and Prometheus. Those metrics will lag a little bit farther behind, but will give us a little bit better of a view. We're going to go ahead and get started off. Let's get the name in here, ML4070Q3. If you're new to the channel or new to the series, please go check out some of the earlier videos that will explain much more in depth of what we're doing here. Otherwise, we're just going to run right through this and get these tests started. We run a static 111 token prompt for these tests, and about 20 tests for each of them so that we get the average of the request, not this quickest, which is normally the first. That's why we let it settle out. We're loading this Q3 model up right now. You can see down there it's taking about 5 gigs of VRAM. Give it a second here and it should just start responding to us, and we'll take a look at how it feels. 4070 Ti Super on Mistral 7B. Wow, that's flying. It's flying. First few back at 93 tokens per second. All right, let's kick this into fast forward. We'll come back and let you feel the very last test of where it settles down so that you guys can get that perception feel of it, and we'll move right into Q4. And here's the end of the Q3 test. Still feeling pretty good to me. Let's see what it comes back at. 79 tokens per second is where the Q3 fell to. So let's go ahead and produce that report. Don't worry, we'll take all the reports from all the quants at the very end and show them to you guys all at once. And then we will add the 4070 to the leaderboard and see where it ends up. So we're going to cycle the Kubernetes pod just to get nice fresh logs and results out of it. And then we will take the Q4 model, which is next, and change the name of our report over to Q4. And then again, we will run that same exact test and get it going. Give it just a second to load up. Should start responding to us here. That's still pretty quick. Q4 on the 4070 Ti Super. First one back at 86 evaluation tokens per second. That feels pretty darn quick to me. What do you guys think? Okay, let's kick this into fast forward. We'll come back at the very end, let you guys watch the last test on Q4, and then we'll hop right into Q5. And here's the end of Q4, still cruising right along. Feeling pretty good. Settled down to about 73 tokens per second. Okay, let's go ahead and produce this report and get it all set up for Q5. Again, we'll cycle the pod, we'll change the report name, and then get right into loading up Q5. Okay, this is Q5 loaded up, taking just over 6.5 gigabytes of VRAM and cruising right along. First one back at about 78 tokens per second. We know that's going to fall down through our test, which is why we do them. Let's go ahead and kick this into fast forward. Come back and see it when it's on the 20th test so that you guys can feel what it feels like. All right, and this is the last test on Q5 so you guys can feel where it settled down to. Still cruising right along. Yeah, it feels pretty good, pretty good. 68 tokens per second. Not too bad. Let's rinse and repeat. We're going to go straight into Q6. I'll let you guys feel it, and then we'll come back at the end of Q6 again. Let's go ahead and cycle the pod. We're going to select the Q6 model, change the report name, get it all loading up, And just in case you guys are curious, I've been seeing it average in between about 240 all the way up to about 265 watts. It moves pretty quick, so I'm actually looking at the NV top power usage during inference down there to get that number from. And this is Q6, just flying right along. 71 tokens per second were the first few. Let's hop into fast forward, come back at the end. And here's the last test on Q6 so you guys can feel where it settled down to. Still flying right along. These 4070 Ti Supers are really good cards. We all wish, of course, they had more VRAM. We all want more VRAM. Settled down to about 62 tokens per second. Let's go ahead and do our typical produce the report. We're going to set this up for Q8 next and keep flying right through all of this. Let's go ahead and cycle the pod like normal. We're going to go select the Q8 model, change the report name, kick off the tests, and here we go. Using just over 9 gigs of VRAM and flying still on the Q8. First one back at 59 tokens per second. That's pretty darn good. This is definitely going to squash the 4060 on our leaderboard. The real question will be is when I pull out the 3090 or the A4500s, how it stands up against those. Let's jump into fast forward mode, come back at the end, and keep going. And here's the last test of the Q8 Quant. Still just moving her very nicely, very nicely. And final numbers in it, about 53 evaluation tokens per second, while using just over about 220 watts or so on that run. Let's go ahead and do our normal stuff. We're going to produce this report and continue on with FP16. That was still a pretty impressive run on the Q8 model. All right, we'll go ahead and get this all set up for FP16. Let the model load up, and there it goes. Using just over 15 gigabytes of VRAM and just flying right along on the FP16. First one back at 36 tokens per second. Let's go ahead and let this test run, and we'll come back at the end and see where it settles out. And here is the final test on the FP16. And then we'll go gather up all of these reports, put them all together in one, and take a look at the results. And then we'll see where this 4070 Ti Super actually lands on our leaderboard. I'm pretty sure it's going to take first place across the board. For now. Let me be clear about that. For now. We've still got more cards to go. So let's go ahead and get this report all generated. It finished off at about 34 tokens per second at the end on the FP16 model. That is pretty darn good, guys. Let's go ahead, produce that final report, and then we'll go take them and put them all together. Let me expand this out so that you guys will be able to see this a heck of a lot better. Go over to report management. We're going to pick up all of those reports, Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6, and FP16. We're going to combine them all into one single report that we can go take a look at. And then at the end, we're going to add these to the leaderboard. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Looking for the 4070. There we go. So this is the prompt evaluation time. This is actually showing you the loading time of the model because we're not leaving off that first test, but it gives you a good idea of what it takes to load the model up before it starts responding. We leave this in for the Mistral Leaderboard test. On our other videos, we tend to leave it out just so that we get a smaller scale. Let's go ahead and move on over and look at the evaluation time. Brown is FP16, purple is Q8, red is Q6, green is Q5, orange is Q4, and blue is Q3. So you can see FP16 was taking a while longer, but not much. Here's the total time comparison. FP16 taking longer, but the rest fairly grouped up in there. Here's the prompt tokens evaluated, which is 111 across the board. Here's the completion tokens. This is going to mimic the length of your response. Pretty tight in there. Total tokens is going to be those combined. Prompt tokens per second. Wow, you can see those are really grouped in there, just except for the FP16 that is slightly below it. Now what everyone's waiting for is the evaluation tokens per second. We can see that the FP16 was down at the bottom at about 38 at the end. Then the Q8, then the Q6, Q5, Q4, Q3, just as we were expecting. But that is pretty fast, guys. That is pretty fast. So let's go ahead and take a second and go add this number to the leaderboards. I think we can all assume that currently on the leaderboard, seeing how the 4060 Ti was the last that we tested, that this will absolutely crush it. You can always come see the leaderboard and all the reports at robotf.ai. Just in case you guys can't see well, you can see these exact reports and follow along. Let's go take a look at the leaderboard and see where we landed out with this. First off, we'll go hit the Q3. And as you guys can see, it just absolutely crushed that 4060 Ti. We have 82 evaluation tokens per second as the average at about 269 watts. That's quite a big difference in between the 4060 Ti and the 4070 Ti Super. Q4, much of the same story, just absolutely crushing that 4060 Ti. We've got 77 tokens per second and 246 watts. Remember, this is all average, guys. Q5, again, just crushing it. 66 evaluation tokens per second, 249 watts. First place so far. Let's take a look at Q6. Again, much of the same story, right? We've got about 64 evaluation tokens per second and 258 watts on the Q6. On the Q8 board, we're definitely still in first place, almost doubling it, right? 54 evaluation tokens per second, 218 watts. But remember, this is almost double the price of a 4060 Ti too. So we've got FP16, 34, almost 35 evaluation tokens per second, 210 watts for power consumption. If you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the like or subscribe button or both. And until next time, buy yourself and your AI pizza.